So this video is going to be covering a lens that I'm actually a really big fan of, and we've actually done a video on before. However, I did feel at the time that I didn't necessarily give it as much justice as it truly deserves. We had managed to actually do quite a bit of filming with the lens at the time. However, over the last year or so, I've borrowed it from Sigma again and again and again, and you can tell that I kind of actually really want to use it. And that lens is, of course, this one. It is the 60 to 600 behemoth from Sigma. It's probably one of my favorite lenses that I've actually had the chance of using over the course of this entire channel. And I just wanted to take it out doing a little bit more of the nature-esque kind of photography with some videography kind of like skills that I feel like this was really suited for, and why I think this is actually going to be perfect for your gear bag. Of course, let's just have a look over the lens in general first. Of course, you've got this massive lens hood, which, you know, it's just a massive lens hood. There's nothing really interesting or crazy about that. You've got your custom buttons here. So you've got 3 custom buttons all in all. You've got this one, and this one. You've also got your zoom lock as well, so you can unlock it or lock it so this doesn't come out whilst you've got it down by your side. So it just gives you a little bit kind of like more stability, and make sure you're not going to damage the glass when you're, you know, carrying it around. It is, of course, a sports range lens, so you've actually got the S there, which is awesome. And again, this is 60 to 600. Now, with super zooms, they are either kind of like really distorted from the front end to the back end, or just generally pretty good. I found this one to be pretty excellent across the board, and I've been actually really happy using it again and again for a number of different projects. Got 105mm filter size on there, which you're not really gonna find, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a monster. It's an absolute monster of a lens. And then, of course, you've got your autofocus, manual focus switch there. Your focus distance switch here, so you can go full 6 meters to infinity, or just 6 meters and behind. And then you got your optical stabilization modes there. And I will say, this camera, this lens, optical stabilization is fantastic. There are times where I've been using it handheld for video, that's been excellent, as well as photo, absolutely killing it. And then you've also got your custom switches there for autofocus kind of performance. I recently took this out with Tyler. Challenge Tyler to a shootout in which he has...
I have a 50 to 400 for Nikon Z-Mount.
Just seeing kind of like 2 different super zooms performance next to each other. I was, however, trying this particular shoot out with this, which is the new addition to the marketing department, the Sony A1. And the performance on this was absolutely crazy. When it comes to it, this lens is so incredibly sharp. As you saw with the photo that we originally started out with, if I zoom in, quality just remains. It's a great lens that you can really crop with. Pairing with something like a A7R5 and an A1, you've got yourself there some incredible wildlife photography and just images in general. This, I feel like, really does pair up well for video as well, because with that distance you can do some really creative kind of styled shots. I think the only thing I really need to test out on is a gimbal, but other than that, the optical performance is excellent. Now, let's talk about the AF, okay? So when it comes to non-native lenses, AF performance usually takes a big kind of like hit. However, I was shooting at high burst rate on the A1, and it pretty much stayed attached to the subject throughout what I was shooting. And this is an experience that I haven't really had on many other lenses that I've tested. Now, what I like about this lens is once you actually got the camera on the actual like lens itself, it actually holds still like that on a flat surface. The other side of it is the hot shoe actually has an Arca Swiss attachment to it, making it a really versatile lens all in all. Now, don't get me wrong, this lens is incredibly heavy and it suits a purpose, and it very much fits in a certain purpose. This is a lens that you'd pretty much probably take a normal zoom and then this out with you, and you'll be able to capture pretty much any focal range that you would ever want. Again, this is a 60 to 600, which actually works out to about 10 times zoom. Now, the optical performance on the actual lens I've noticed that the images are incredibly sharp, and I'm just all around just super impressed kind of what I've managed to get out of it, as well as when it comes to video performance, because this is of course a pump zoom here. You can really zoom in and zoom out as quick as possible, and it's perhaps one of my favorite systems to be able to do that. Of course, it's not necessarily a great idea to zoom in and zoom out like that all the time, because you are just going to be pumping dust in there. It is, however, weather sealed, so a lot of the dust that you would expect out of a non-weather sealed dust pump essentially will be fixed with this. Overall, this lens is absolutely incredible, and I probably shouldn't be spinning it around on the desk, but absolutely beautiful piece of glass that you can do so much with. My kind of conclusion on this is, if you are a sports photographer, you don't necessarily mind carrying, if you are a sports photographer, a wildlife photographer, and you don't necessarily mind carrying too much weight, then this lens absolutely kills it, because you've got pretty much everything. Heck, you can even do some landscape there with it. When it comes to videography, I think this is going to be invaluable for people doing events, doing live sessions, or anything around that kind of area. Because you've got that super zoom capability, you can pretty much punch into wherever you want to at any given time. Meaning, when you're on a tripod at a live event and you're looking to just grab some shots of the crowd, or anything else, this lens really fits in quite well. And because if you pair it up with, let's say, an FX6, an FX3, an A7S III, with that dual native ISO and low light performance, the aperture value doesn't actually really affect kind of what you're shooting, and overall it's an absolutely awesome bit of glass. So, if you like this video, make sure you like, follow and subscribe if you want to see more. Have a good day. Woo!